peppermint ones, and this one has almonds in it, or is that the pecans? No, I don't know what the one in the middle is.
The chocolate one is really good.
Look at the peppermint.
Yeah, it's one of those.
It's like we stumbled onto the rails enough to be able to say, hey,
Yeah, I think we can start now.
Assbutt.
It's a 37-minute
Is
intro.
it
I
real?
like.
Yeah.
I love podcasts that people don't like try to make like the most professional
Yeah.
Oh,
bullshit.
that
I
little
love
welcome
to
to
just
Hey
sit back,
Assbutt.
Oh,
have
yeah.
some goddamn fun,
Fucking
and
A.
stop being like, all right, dude, it's 59 minutes. We got to cut it off at an hour, and we haven't asked these questions. Like, what the fuck? Who do you think is listening to this shit?
Yeah.
Hey, Rod, I've got good news for you.
Yeah,
We're
we-
the least professional.
We keep it real loose around here.
Good.
And also, who's listening to it? 30 people.
Booyah.
Yeah, we
Including my mom. So,
Exactly.
hey, Mom.
And you think she's gonna write in
Oh,
the
your mom.
complaint?
Your
Like
mom
I don't
listens
like.
to this.
I'm used to watching Drill Scarboro's Country in the morning. Your show's a little too loose for my liking. Your fucking podcast with other comedians
We keep it
who
gaping.
don't use their fucking college degrees
Yes.
in their day jobs. Fucking
Hey, since my mom's
podcast a
listening,
little loose.
since my mom is listening, you said this English degree would have come to nothing. All
yeah.
right, well,
Yeah.
here we are.
I mean, I tune in for you guys to talk about the Supernatural TV show, and for 30 minutes you're talking about shit in the woods
Yeah.
and gay girls on TV. What is this bullshit?
Hey, two great
How did you
tastes
get
and
to
taste
NPR like this? You're never gonna be on NPR acting like this. I want to see them gay boys.
Okay, as an NPR listener, I would never presume to even ask to be on NPR.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're just having some fucking fun.
Damn right.
So we have a guest today.
Yeah, if you couldn't tell, one of these voices is not like the other
Oh,
that we normally hear.
there's an Asian man in the room today.
All right, well, that's not what I was saying. We have our friend Narado Moore on.
Yeah.
Ooh, hey, how's it going, man? It's Narado. Rod for short. Some people call me the Dat fan of Lower Merion, Pennsylvania. You know? So, strap in tight. 'Cause this is going to be a good one.
Yeah.
All the virgins say, ho.
So, Narado, you've never seen Supernatural before.
No, not, like, literally not one episode. I've seen a commercial. I've heard Supernatural talked about on another podcast. So I've heard about it, and I've seen some commercials,
But that's it.
but I've never watched it. Not even 5 seconds of it.
From what you've seen, what do you think it's about?
It's about 2 gay vampires
Spot fucking on.
who've been literally stuck in a closet in a 14th century monastery for the last 800 years. And then some rich dude in San Francisco buys it, moves that cathedral to the Castro. And then these gay vampires are awoken from their slumber by the smells of KY jelly. Something they've never smelled before. And then they just become private detectives where they try to where other gay monsters. Other gay monsters come and try to get them justice. How far off am I?
Okay, in the next universe, however, let's make that show.
It's like,
That's
what-
amazing.
Like, who was the girl that did the Ghost Whisperer? Was it the girl who's married to Freddie Prinze Jr.?
Patricia Arquette.
No, it was somebody.
that
it
was
was somebody
Medium.
else who used to
Oh,
do
that was
the.
Medium.
It
It was
Okay.
Jennifer Love
Hewitt.
Hewitt.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like it's like the Ghost Whisperer, but instead of it just being a ghost, like, hey, I've got some problems I haven't taken care of. It's just ghosts, like, hey, I'm gay. And
And
I've
been fired from my job.
been a gay wolf man, for 300 years.
Just some guy from Alabama being like, hey, I've been fired from my job
I want some
at an
justice.
ice creamery, and I need somebody to come represent me.
Exactly, at the Bluebell factory.
Yes.
Alabama man would be like, hey, I got fired for being too gay over at the Bluebell. I need you to help me out.
So
Okay.
is that what the show is about?
Yeah.
Because
Not
if not,
even-
I would like to write that up.
It's not even
The
close.
show about
Please
old gay
make that
vampires
show.
sounds so good.
Rod, look at me. Make that show happen, please.
I'd watch it.
I'd watch it. I want to star in it. I want to.
Yeah.
I'd want to start it. Like, I'd
Yeah.
want to play like a Meshack Taylor type vampire.
Nosferatu.
You know what I'm saying? Like based less on him in designing women and more on Hollywood Montrose
Oh my god.
from the mannequin movies. Because I always thought Hollywood Montrose was one of the greatest characters.
He's
love
amazing.
Mannequin 2 on the Move with Hollywood Montrose with Mick Jagger. I love
That would be amazing.
I love it.
Also,
Hoffman Conic.
Oh my god.
let's just remake designing women, but Hollywood Montrose is the main character.
But you could have like a Van Helsing type character, only it's like one of those dudes that's like way into like at the Westboro Baptist Church.
He's in the
like,
closet.
yeah, exactly.
He's like super gay, but he's also like, I'm ashamed of my feelings.
yeah. He's always chasing after yeah.
I love this plan. I love this.
He's made it his life's work to destroy those two gay vampire detectives.
Yeah.
Because he can't come out of the closet.
Yeah.
But it culminates in him getting Eiffel Towered
Booyah.
by those two dudes.
Yeah.
Well, they won't. It'll have to be on HBO then.
It's gonna be like
Yeah.
Chasing Amy. We're gonna do that.
Nah, man.
Yeah, except way gayer.
He's like, so why did you miss church yesterday? Like, what happened? Like, I sucked this dick while the other one fucked me.
Yeah.
Is that what you wanted to hear?
And they sucked my blood, and I liked it.
Yeah. Okay, now I'm the undead and fabulous.
Yeah.
We need more gay vampires.
I'm needing to come out of the casket. All right.
You know what I'm saying?
The jokes are so there. They're so easy. I can see them in my mind's eye, and that's not what Supernatural's about at all.
What is Supernatural about?
That's a good question.
Travis, do you
No,
feel like
no,
I'm
no,
fucking
no.
with you?
I've
You
never
go
seen.
for it.
I've never even seen the credits for this show. I know nothing
me to do
about it.
Benjamin.
All right, so I'll tell you how the first episode opens up. This one brother is at college, and he's trying to make his own way. He's trying to go through law school, right? But then his older brother just shows up one day, telling him that his dad has gone on a hunting trip and he hasn't been home in a few days, and the brother's thinking, it's fine. And then he reinstates, hey, he hasn't been home in several fucking days. We should probably go see what it's about. And then that's when Sam, the brother who's at college, decides to take it seriously. And the brothers go hunt. What is it in the first episode?
A ghost.
It's just a ghost. But
Just a random ghost.
yeah.
Well, a ghost who's killing
Dad's
people.
missing. Was time to start hunting ghosts.
Yeah.
They're not-
Well, it's not just ghosts. It's anything you can imagine. Anything from mythology is what they have to hunt a lot of the time. But it's them having to take out these monsters to save people. And along the way, they're trying to find their dad is the first arc.
Oh, so that's what. So they run into the ghosts
They run to the
as
ghost.
they're looking for their dad, or
Yeah.
were they already ghost hunters by
Well,
birth?
they've been hunting since they were kids.
Yeah.
Hunting supernatural creatures, like
Okay.
ghosts, demons,
So they were like the
werewolves.
Hardy Boys.
Yeah, basically, except with supernatural.
And more soldier from the time they were knee high to a fucking grasshopper. They've been hunting shit.
Jesus.
And yeah, their dad's a piece of shit.
Because he was a Vietnam veteran and their mom died in a fire.
Caused by a demon.
Oh yeah, demon fire.
Yep.
Demon
They've been
fire.
hunting ghosts since they were 7 years old.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
And then their dad goes missing and they stumble upon this ghost while they're searching for their dad. And they're like, oh, well, let's take care of this ghost. He's still missing. All right, now we're going to go hunt a bunch of things and figure this shit out.
Yeah, it's two brothers driving around the country in a 67 or a 72 Impala listening to classic rock.
Yep, that's pretty much the show.
So it's like Joe Dirt without the comedy.
Pretty much. Oh, so it's
Yeah,
like
kinda.
Joe Dirt.
And
Well, I mean, the sequel was terrible.
less comedy,
Original Joe Dirt is a classic.
more ghost hunting.
You're not wrong.
It's like a-
Haven't seen Joe Dirt? Is there ghost hunting in Joe Dirt? That's the real question.
No, but he was hunting for his parents.
Oh, all right,
They,
rock
they
on.
pretty much
Just like
ghosted
this
him.
show. They're hunting for his dad in this show.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird. So what? Did they stop ghost hunting so that guy can go to college?
There was a falling out between that brother and the dad. He just decided to up and leave and go to.
The son decided to marry a ghost, didn't he?
Yeah. No,
He brought home his ghost wife, and his dad was like, "Not in my house."
Are you
that's
fucking
Travis's
kidding me?
dick.
Yeah.
If you don't
I would
get
marry
that
a ghost.
non-corporeal piece of shit out of here.
A ghost in my house?
I raised you better than this. I raised you not to marry ghosts.
I feel like we're in way too southern of a state and way too close of a misstep for these sentences.
That's fucking amazing, dude. That's fucking amazing. That's weird, man.
Yeah, I've been watching the show since it fucking came out. That's
Yeah,
Same.
so is Scott.
yeah.
There's just not any like that's a CW show, right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
After I stopped watching the Flash and what's the other one?
The Arrow?
Fake Justice
Arrow?
League.
Oh, Legends of Tomorrow.
Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
The Be Less Justice
I
League.
stopped
Oh my
watching
God.
those shows. I don't watch anything on the fucking CW
The
anymore.
CW is
Yeah.
It's
garbage.
It's too much forced bullshit. It's for like
Yeah.
14-year-olds.
Yeah.
It is.
You're not
It
wrong.
is.
and guess what? We're a bunch of fucking 14-year-olds.
It's
So.
fucking. It's weird. Like I've seen stuff like you ever watch I've watched like videos about like celebrities meeting people.
Yeah.
I've seen them talking to like girls who are like fucking 12 years old, and they're like, "Why you love Taylor Swift so much?" Like, but she was like, her music was like really there for me when I was in a tough time in my life. That's what the fuck are you going through at 12 years old? That Taylor Swift is really helping pull you through it. Like, get the fuck out of here with this shit. And those are the people that like the CW shows. Of course.
All right, I can see why
Yeah.
I have to bring Taylor Swift into this. She's a very talented young
I mean,
woman.
Taylor
and
Swift
she-
is the shit, but I feel like if you're 12 years old, you shouldn't be crying about how Taylor Swift helped you get through some things. What the fuck are you going through? Unless you're a 12-year-old ghost hunter, you know what I'm saying? then you've seen some shit.
Her parents grounded her. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Right.
she wasn't.
And they wouldn't let me watch the season finale of Supernatural at the DVR like some kind of fucking animal. Oh my god.
Like some peasant.
You got spoiled for me on goddamn
And I
Twitter.
was grounded because I had a stupid math test and I failed it. Whatever. Shut up.
Well, I never got into the Supernatural fandom because of that. Because I saw a few of like the posts and stuff, and it's like, I'm gonna watch the show and never go on Tumblr.
I feel
Ever.
like
That is.
we just
You made
gave
a
the
good
worst
decision.
description of Supernatural we could for 3 people who have actually watched the show.
Yeah, we've
Now,
been.
started a
that's pretty
podcast
on
about it.
par with how I would describe it.
Okay. That's fair.
I don't want to give him I don't want to give away too much in case he wants to watch it.
Yeah, all right. Fair enough. Fair
Yeah.
enough.
Also, I've been drinking whiskey since I don't know what fucking time.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
At least since 4:30.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like how you're just putting. Okay, Ben
Yeah,
is
like,
just
Ben,
has an open can of
We
Coke.
have cups.
Yeah, Ben, do you need a cup?
Like we.
Y'all just cleaned the kitchen. I'm doing you a favor.
No,
Okay.
man.
No, you're not. We have so many cups.
have
Do you
so
want a
many
cup?
cups.
No, I'm good.
No.
Okay,
No.
that's
no,
not even
no,
mentioning
no,
the fact
no,
that
no.
he has taken a Coke and. Okay, I feel like this is especially relevant considering the fact that we just released an episode called Ben is a Monster.
Yeah,
he is
no,
drinking whiskey
he's
and
doing
Coke
that shit again. He's
In a-
drinking that rum and Coke.
in a Coke can.
Well, it's whiskey and Coke this time. Whiskey and Coke neat out of the can.
out of the can.
This
cold
episode is
enough.
going to be called Ben is a Monster Part 2.
It's cold. No. It's Ben Rising 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
What-
Okay, here's the thing, Ben. I find your drink choices monstrous.
Yeah.
Monstrous.
You're not the first. You're not the last.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane that you're drinking lukewarm whiskey and Coke. Because those Cokes are not very cold.
It's colder than I am.
Well, I mean, a lot of things are colder than you are at 98.7 degrees.
You're not wrong.
98.8.
Whatever.
98.7 Kiss FM.
All right. So, Rod, I have some questions for you.
Okay.
I'm going to ask them. Do you have a favorite monster / cryptid? And if so, what is it?
That's a good question. I've always been. I guess I've been into vampires my whole life. I like mythological based animals and creatures. I like Greek mythology,
Okay.
the Roman mythology, or
Ooh, yeah.
anything ancient like that. Like I don't really like fucking like Bigfoot and things like that. Like things that have nothing to do with magic. I think this is stupid to be like, oh yeah, that's cool. Bigfoot exists. We haven't seen one because they're so good at hiding. Like that's fucking stupid as fuck. Like there's no way. There's no way
Maybe-
there's 6,000 fucking big feet in this country. And they have always been here since humans were here thousands of years ago.
Is it big feet or big foot?
But we've never seen one because, they've got these underground caves and they're really good at hiding. Like, how the fuck do they know what heat-seeking fucking cameras are? Like, it's so stupid.
Actually,
Sense shooting on
a lot of people don't know this. It was one of the big feet that made the heat seeker camera to begin with. So
Oh.
how to hide
I
themselves.
hate that, man. Like, If you want to say something, like if you believe in Bigfoot because of magic, I'd be like, that's cool.
Yeah.
But there's too many people out there with like a lot of science behind it.
Yeah.
Like we've never found naturally killed bears in the forest. That's why we never found Bigfoot. And I was like, that's such a fucking lie.
Yeah.
That's such a lie. That's like saying Native Americans don't exist. Like, I know there's just not, 10,000 of them in every fucking major city in this country.
Yeah.
But we've seen some fucking Lakotas.
Yeah.
Don't tell me the Big Feet are hiding in fucking caves. People are always like, there's just, you don't understand how much unexplored land there is in this country and uninhabited land. Like, there's a lot of uninhabited land, but there's no unexplored land.
That's actually
We've seen everything there is to
That's
see
a huge
here.
pet peeve of mine because the unexplored land we have are fucking like national parks, which we've explored. There is no unexplored. There's unexplored ocean. That's what you mean.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not land.
Maybe Bigfoot's down there.
Yeah, just swimming around with them colossal
He's in the
squids.
Mariana Trench. That's where he fucking
There's
is.
not 400 of them in fucking Yosemite State fucking Park.
So is Bigfoot okay? So actually, is Bigfoot supposed to be a species of things, or is it just one guy?
Bigfoot is supposed to be a species of things.
Yeah.
A lot of
Okay.
people, a lot of the scientists say he's related to Gigantopithecus, who was like a giant Cro-Magnon type thing, which is something else that always weirds me out because it's like, yeah, like we used to look like this. Look how weird the skulls are. Like, I mean, you fucking leave a fucking skull buried under something.
Yeah.
For 6,000 years, it might come out a little warped.
Might
Or
be
maybe
a
you
fucking
found a
weird
fucking
skull.
retard. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like, you just might have found a fucking mongoloid.
Or maybe, you know those,
The wider head
you know those
Cro-Magnon.
skulls in South America where like the Aztecs would tie boards to their babies'
Yeah.
heads so they would like.
And they shape them in
Elongate.
skulls and shit.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
fucking weird.
It's
Science is bullshit. Science is bullshit. That's what we're saying.
Yep.
It's already. I just don't like people who like to bring science. And
Also,
other
the
shit.
Earth is flat.
Right. The Earth is flat.
I mean,
Global
have you
warming doesn't
seen
exist
around
because It's
Earth?
cold sometimes.
Fucking chemtrails.
Every time a daycare bus goes up in flames and children die, it's proof that God doesn't exist. But the 99 other percent of times when that doesn't happen to daycare buses, it's not proof he does exist. It's just so much weird, stupid shit. It just annoys the fuck out of
Okay,
me.
to be fair though, there are a lot of daycare buses that just spontaneously go up in flames.
It's just so annoying. Like, see, if God exists, why did he let that happen? Like, what about all the millions of times he didn't let it happen? Like, that doesn't count. Like, well, why does this count? Why don't you just leave everyone? Why don't you just stop bothering fucking people with your pseudo fucking science? Bigfoot is Gigantopithecus, so he could fucking
What?
he could go days without being caught in the woods. Like, shut up.
Why do you like vampires though? Like vampires were the first thing you mentioned.
Vampires are sexy.
Okay.
Yeah.
They are sexy.
Vampires are sexy. They're very passionate, and I'm a person that likes to learn. So like, I really like the idea that like you could live for 800 years. Like that's a lot of shit to experience in this world and to learn. Like that's like the perfect existence for me. Like I'd love to be around for fucking 800 years.
See how the world changes.
Yeah, like that seems cool as shit. Like
Yeah.
you know how much shit these people have seen in 800 years. That would be awesome if it was real.
Yeah.
It's such the opposite of me. Like I want to die tomorrow. Like that's my goal.
Ari's ultimate goal is to live a healthy life and
Yeah.
then die at 50.
We were talking about like mundane aspirations. I was like, I don't know, maybe I'll make it to 47. Who
Yeah.
I lived at Thursday. Yeah.
knows? Yeah, that's the dream, really.
Stretching it out, you know?
Yeah.
Living on borrowed time, my friend. All the way to Thursday, Jesus.
Hey, who knows what's gonna happen? All right, maybe I get hit by a car. Who knows?
Jet engine just falls from the sky.
So, this is. I want to know, like, do you have a movie horror universe that you could live in? Like, what's one that you would want to live in?
The Friday the 13th universe.
Why the
Nice.
Friday the 13th?
Because there's a lot of sex and a slow-witted, slow-moving killer. Like I don't know. You know, I'm not saying that I could beat Jason with brute force, but I can get away
Yeah.
based on what I've seen. So I can just go to a summer camp, get a couple blowjobs, get my dick wet a couple times, and then run away. You can't really beat that.
I have one question for you.
Okay.
Have you seen It Follows?
No.
Oh.
You should watch It Follows. All right, so I'll give you like just a quick rundown. there is this STD where if you have sex with this person,
Hold on.
they can pass the killer on to you, and it's just this slow walking thing that no one else can see but you.
It's like a ghost that when you fuck someone, you pass the ghost. Like either you get killed by the ghost or the person you fuck gets killed by the ghost.
Although I want to say this could be saved by wearing a condom.
Yes.
So always wear a condom.
So it's like Fallen, but on X videos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's the premise is hilarious. It's really good, but I just love it's just passed on by fucking. That's it.
That's weird.
Yeah.
So bodily fluids pass.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah.
I highly suggest it.
I'm
It's
going
a
to
very
watch
good
it.
movie.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
It's a very good horror movie.
It's one of those like weird movies that they do some things that you can't really tell when it's set, but the music, the ambiance, everything about it is fucking good.
Definitely in a time before condoms. Because that's how
Anti-raw
that
dog and
gets fucked.
propaganda. I don't support that.
See, I do. Safe sex is a must, guys. Wrap it up. Wrap that shit up.
I only fuck women that have had a tubal litigation. or
Use birth
libation.
control.
Fuck it. You want to
Wow.
die tomorrow, so go raw. Get
Oh,
that
yeah.
fucking-
Good point.
Get that fucking ghost STD.
Calling my guy over
Yeah.
here right now.
Yeah.
It shows up. The thing about the ghost and It Follows is it shows up as anything. So it can show up as your dad, and it's like, this is upsetting.
It's just like a weird version.
My
of
dad
your
knows I've had sex.
Yeah.
Very
Funny as
upsetting.
Fuck. I'm watching that.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
It's very scary, actually.
It's one of fucking watch it.
But I'm also a scaredy cat, so who knows?
But I brought it because it was like one of the first real slasher movies of the past several years that was good.
Yeah, it's a very good movie. All right. Well, Travis,
Yeah.
I think I have a question for you.
What's that?
This week's episode is called Everybody Loves a Clown.
Everybody loves a clown.
What do you think happens?
All right. So, Sam and Dean go to somewhere in Maine, and there's this clown hanging around, and he's like one of those clowns that just hangs out in a mall and sells balloons. And so Sam and Dean buy a balloon for this kid, and this kid is like, "Oh, cool, I got this balloon." But while they were buying that balloon, another kid who is related to that same kid runs off, and he like runs out of the mall, and he gets hit by a car.
Oh, God.
And Sam and Dean have to spend their Sam and Dean have to spend Sam and Dean have to spend the rest of their life coping with the death of this child.
Wow.
Okay, well,
That's
No, hold the fuck up.
It's a family show. It's a
I didn't know you
family
were David goddamn Kage in a fucking fat suit.
as soon as
Yeah. You ever heard of the...
I saw when Ben caught on.
I was like, oh, son of a bitch. Now, you know the game Heavy Rain? That was it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the opening to the game Heavy Rain.
guys, I have something very important to say. All right.
I know.
I don't know if that happens, but we'll find out.
Let's find out.
Okay, everyone
All right.
shut up. Somebody start the episode. It's usually my job.
All right, so we watched this episode.
We watched it.
Yeah, it was interesting.
I don't know a single thing that happened.
Yeah, you were having a good time. You're having a good time right now. But so it's called Everybody Loves a Clown, and it opens with Sam and Dean like working on the car. No. Well, there's the cold open,
Yeah, the
which
cold
is
open.
a family in a carnival
In Medford, Wisconsin.
in Medford, Wisconsin. So they're at a carnival, and this girl is really into clowns. She really likes the clowns. She's playing with them and stuff. And then she sees one off in the corner and like waves at her, and she's like, "Oh, look, another clown!" And her parents are like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Get out of here!" So they go home, and then on their way home, she sees the clown again, and she's like, "Look, it's a clown!" And they're like, "What the fuck are you talking about? We're
gonna
taking
have
you to the
put our
doctor tomorrow."
We're gonna have to put our daughter in some classes.
Yeah.
For stupid people.
And so then
because our daughter's seeing clowns everywhere, and it's like nuts.
so
That's what they're saying to their brains.
we're gonna. So they get home, and then the daughter is like going to bed, and she sees the clown out in her backyard, and she goes downstairs and unlocks the door and lets the clown in, and then it murders her parents.
The fuck is wrong with that kid?
I don't know.
Like, I was taught to not do that at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
open the door for people, especially weirdo fucking clowns.
Yeah, you
And
just
she's
don't
just
do
like,
that.
hey, clown, it's the middle of the night. Come on in. My parents are asleep. Let's play.
If my parents were asleep and like a clown showed up on my fucking driveway, I'd be like, get the fuck out of here, clown. You're not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
That
It's
girl
like
was too
10
old
p.m.
to not be calling 911.
Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you. Yes. That
A
girl is
4-year-old
dumb.
is supposed to just open the door for a clown.
Yeah.
This girl was like 13.
Yes.
You're too old for
She
that.
was like
Fucking
13
A.
and she was like, I'm super into clowns. And I was like, oh, you're about to get bullied a lot.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what would happen.
But so then there's the intro and then cut to Sam and Dean giving John, their dad.
A traditional cheesehead funeral, as Rod said.
Yeah.
Stupid ass pyre they built.
They're giving
This
him
is a
a...
traditional hunter's funeral. Yeah, you know that's how everybody in Wisconsin who likes to go duck hunting. that's how they go out.
No, so they're giving him a hunter's funeral, which means they salt his body and then they burn him so he can't come back as a ghost and haunt everybody.
So they just turn them into cured meat.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Sexy, sexy cured meat.
If you're jerky, you can't be possessed. Everybody knows that. Did you not go to Bible school?
That is
Yep.
true.
Yeah.
But so then Sam and Dean are working on the car and they're working through their emotions about their dad and all that kind of stuff. And then Sam picks up one of John's phones and sees a voicemail from a while ago from this lady named Ellen. And they're like, ooh, who
Okay,
is
I'm
Ellen?
going to stop you right there.
What?
I love Ellen.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I would murder Ben for
All right.
Ellen.
We're going to get to Ellen.
Okay, sorry.
So they pick up and they go to Ellen, which is in this like middle of nowhere plains land bar.
It looked abandoned.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like it literally looks like an abandoned shack in the middle of a field.
Yep.
Doesn't even really look like a bar. Mm-hmm. And they walk in, and they're checking the place out, and then all of a sudden, sexy ladies are pointing guns at them. Which I don't know about you guys, but that's like a fantasy of mine. Having a sexy lady point a gun at me and then hit me in the face with it.
That's in my top 10.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
But so it turns out that that's Ellen and her daughter Jo, and their dad was a hunter, and she runs this bar, which like regular people come in, but also hunters will drift through. So she learned about the culture, and her husband was one for a while and stuff like that.
There was a lot of forced drama. Like,
Yeah,
They tried to make it seem super intense, but it really wasn't at all.
No.
It was very like High School Musical, Nickelodeon bullshit.
Yeah.
It was a horror. I did not enjoy that about it.
It was the Victorious of the GW.
It was horrible.
Yeah,
It was like
and-
watching a PG-13 version of The World of Alex Mack.
Damn.
and so like Dean and Jo, Ellen's daughter, are like making eyes at each other and shit like that. And they're talking about how Ellen knows John and things. And then Sam notices this folder that's full of like newspaper clippings about this murder, like where parents are being murdered and the kid is being left alive. So they go check it out, and they're led to the carnival because the kid keeps talking about clowns and stuff. And so they try to get a job at the carnival, and I guess it works.
It worked out.
Yeah, it works out for them. They become like janitors, and
Picking up trash.
yeah, picking up trash and stuff.
Also,
Trash.
more forced drama. Like,
Yeah,
what the hell else job could they have gotten at the carnival? Why'd they make it seem like they had to fill out fucking resumes and try to be the general goddamn manager? Like,
yeah. Them getting the job at this carnival was like they walked up to the guy who ran it, and they were like, "Hey, we want to be part of this carnival."
They were like, hey, I noticed you have a carnival here. And then Sam and Dean were like, can I work at this carnival? And then the guy was like,
And the guy's like,
yeah.
"Hey, you're not weird enough to be part of our gang."
And I'm blind.
Yeah, no,
I
that was
noticed-
another guy.
I noticed one of you doesn't have a beard, so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uncomfortable is what I am.
So so they get jobs. Like it's probably like the lowest you can be at a carnival, which is already pretty low.
Yeah.
The
normal
trash
guy
picker
sweeping.
uppers.
Yeah.
The trash guys.
So
They
they're
got sweet satin jackets though from the company.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's true.
yeah. Those were some sweet like matching jackets. I would have stolen one of those.
Yeah.
But so they're scoping it out, and then they hear this girl tell her mom, hey, look, there's a clown. And the mom goes, there's no clown there. Because this clown keeps disappearing. It only appears to the children and then vanishes as soon as they try to like tell their parents about it. And they follow that family home. And lo and behold, another child lets a clown into their house.
Which is insane. Like,
Nobody's been taught to not talk to strangers.
Yeah.
Or let strangers in the house.
Yeah.
All these little children
As you said,
open the
children.
door for clowns.
These kids are not raised properly.
They're not
Yeah.
raised
Look.
properly.
2006 was a gentle time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a gentle time full of gentle children.
It had been 5 years since 9/11. It was a real gentle fucking time.
It's just a real
Yep.
gentle time.
Fucking participation trophy ass motherfuckers.
Here's the thing. Even in 2006, if somebody was like, hey,
man.
want to let this clown into your house? I would have been like, fuck no. Especially these clowns are coming up to these children at like 10 p.m.
Yeah.
It's like I'm already in bed, ready for school the next day. I'm not about to let these clowns in.
I'm like, why is a kid looking out the fucking window in the middle of the night?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, you know what? You know what was outside my window as a kid? Goddamn nothing.
Yeah. What we're saying is these children deserve to become orphans because
Yeah.
that's insane.
Yeah, they should
That they
have
would
killed,
let
they should've
children
killed
in.
those asshole children and left the parents alive so they could have a better kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Or they could have just
Thank you.
they could have had a better life going on trips. Have
Yeah.
a better
And
retirement.
having the money to afford that Italian.
Not worry about this
Trip.
fucking idiot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
these dumbass kids
Just
letting
random people
clowns
in
in
the house.
everywhere.
But so they
Clowns.
sneak into the house and they confront the clown and they like shoot it, and it's not a ghost. They think it's a ghost at first, and it's obviously not. Because
Yeah.
they try to shoot it with rock salt and it doesn't like dissipate immediately, which is what happens when you shoot a ghost with rock salt.
Which is it's very weird science to get into.
Yeah.
Like, well, it's obvious not a ghost. Why you say that? Well, he shot it with rock salt, and it didn't dissipate, so it's obviously something
There's
more.
a lot of weird like paranormal science with the whole like, you know, ghosts can't like they get burned by steel and they can't cross salt or whatever.
So weird.
By weird science, he just means suspension of disbelief. That's
Yeah,
all it is.
just like fantasy.
It's like so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
But
It's
so
not a ghost because he got up after the rock salt. Like, I mean, that goes for the people. You
Yeah.
know, I understand.
That's how you make a ghost.
You
But,
know?
so
Shot
that-
him with rock salt. He stayed down. That dude was a ghost. No, he was just a human being, and he fucking killed him.
So they try to do some research and they can't really find anything, and then they ask Ellen if she knows anything, and she comes back with this
Rakshas?
Raksha, which is something from the Himalayas, which is basically a it's something it kind of
It shapeshifts and it eats human flesh.
it shapeshifts.
It seemed like a boggart from Harry Potter. Is
It
what I
seems
kinda
like
picked
yeah.
up on.
Yeah.
It can turn invisible and it eats human flesh.
I just thought it was Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. That's,
Yeah.
You know, that's. Yeah.
And so they can't figure out like there's no reason to why it's like, I guess the reason it's targeting kids is because it'll know that the kids will invite it in more acceptingly than an adult will.
Yeah.
That's my guess. But so they go back to the carnival because they think, oh, the guy that runs the carnival is the Raksha, because that makes sense. We saw this picture of his dad, which looks exactly like him. So maybe he's just hundreds of years old and he's doing this thing. And the only way to kill a Raksha is to stab it with a brass knife. And they're like, where the fuck are we going to get a brass knife? And so they go back to the carnival and split up
Yeah.
because Sam is checking out the room where the guy who runs the carnival, Cooper, they're checking out his place because apparently they live on like a bed of dead bugs. So he's going to go check that out. And then Dean is going to this blinded knife throwing guy who we met earlier because he's like, oh, well, he's got all kinds of fucking knives. So maybe he's got a knife that's made out of brass. And then it turns out that it's the blind guy. So it turns out it's the blind guy that is the Raksha. And so they're running around and they're trying to escape the Raksha because they're like, what? Fuck. We can't just kill it because there's always an inconvenient way to kill these monsters.
Yeah.
Right. It's never just like stab it with a convenient household object.
Yeah.
Let's never punch it in the face.
It's never like
Shoot it with rock salt.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's never wood can take this fucker down. It's always like, oh, here's this super inconvenient material
Yeah.
that's like you have to go to a store to get.
Yeah, we
so.
gotta melt down a trombone and then turn that shit into a knife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We gotta go to the brass section of a marching band and be like, hey, can we borrow your instruments forever?
It's
But
it's a very slow paced show where
it really is.
everybody seems to be like not really be into it. And they're just trudging along, like trying to hurry up and get this shit over with as fast as possible.
Look, when I was 15, this show was the tits.
Oh,
the
yeah.
tits, I tell you.
Exactly.
It really was.
It's
But so they run into the fun house because Sam has an idea, and it'll make it harder for the Raksha to like kill them.
They had like 4 mirrors in it. It was
Yeah.
a very small, cheap ass funhouse.
And
it was a
so
fun-sized funhouse.
Look, they had to fit it in Vancouver. Do you know how big Vancouver is?
it's actually pretty big.
It's very
one of the
small.
it's one of the bigger
Four-length
cities.
mirrors and a
Small.
fucking
Nope.
handcuff.
It's really not.
It can only fit 4 funhouse mirrors
Oh my god.
and a fucking orchestra.
Alright, Vancouver is one of the bigger cities in Canada.
Look, you say that, but do I believe you?
Yeah, because
No.
I've been there.
Sounds good to me.
But so they're in this fun house, and there's this like organ thing in the fun house that it's like an organ with pipes, and it's got steam coming out of the pipes, and apparently those pipes are made of brass.
They look like it.
Which I've never seen an organ. Well, I've never seen a brass organ.
Especially silver.
Yeah.
I've never seen silver.
They're
brass.
usually silver, or they're like,
Yeah, thank God it wasn't
Or steel.
92% nickel.
Yeah.
But so apparently those are like pure brass because Sam takes it and he's able to stab the Raksha with the help of Dean, filling the thing with steam because there was steam. It was like a haunted organ, so there was steam coming out of it.
Oh, it was like a fog machine filling the place up, making it look spooky.
Yeah, and so Dean fills the room with fog, which makes it easier to see the invisible guy, and Sam stabs it, and then they're on their way back to Ellen, and they're like, "Yep, we did it."
With this horrible forced fight about who's mourning their dead properly. It's stupid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's a whole confrontation about that.
It's very weak, man. This show is like an episode of R.L. Stein Goosebumps with $1 million budget. Like, it's very lame and
Yeah.
very stupid, but, you know, they got a nice soundtrack.
Yep. And
They did have a nice soundtrack.
one of the last things we see is this other guy, Ash, who was at Ellen's bar, who is apparently a guy who went to MIT and got kicked out for punching people in the face too many
Because
times.
he's got a super mullet.
He does have this super mullet.
He seemed like
It's
if
like-
Joe Dirt and Stephen Hawking had a baby.
Yeah.
Yes.
But like Ben, he had like your length hair as a mullet, which is insane to
It was
me.
beautiful.
Ben, we
Yeah, for all you
if
listeners, can you hear how long my hair is?
Hey, Ben, take a goddamn shower. That would probably help.
I'm sorry if I came here straight from work
um
and got stuck in a wreck.
but so Ben, we should cut your hair into a mullet so you could cosplay as Ash.
Ah,
No.
No. Hey,
That's
Travis?
I
No.
think I look great, man.
Yeah.
Come here, Ben.
I like party all over, not
It
just
would
in
be
the
fucking
back.
majestic, dude.
But yeah, so Ash has his computer that's made out of like tubing and
Yeah, the hopes and dreams of like MIT.
Yeah, it's like a fucking
Applicants everywhere.
compact Presario that's
Yeah.
been
It's
made
like
into a fucking flux capacitor.
I made this computer out of future technology. Shut the fuck up.
And so apparently they gave him all the documents of that John used to track Yellow Eyes, the demon that killed him. And so if Ash ever sees anything around the omens that follows Yellow Eyes, he'll call Sam and Dean, which I figure is gonna come back around in about 20 episodes.
Probably, yeah.
Well, this season is only 16 episodes long, I believe, right?
Is it?
No, that's third season.
Oh, it's third
That's
season.
season 3.
Sorry, that's
Yeah,
that's a
okay.
joke for next season.
Okay, so let's be real about let's go ahead and nail this down.
Mm-hmm.
This episode is not about a killer clown.
No.
This episode is about Dean and Sam's inability to deal with their father's death.
Yes.
That is what this episode is about. Who gives a shit about the clown, right? It is about their ability to come to terms with the death of their father, which happened last episode. So let's talk about that a little bit. Now that we've done the sum up.
They were both being pussies. like the whole show was just been like, hey Dean, like, you know, like, I just want you to know it'd be okay if you were to cry about dad being dead, you know. I won't think any less of you. And then fucking Dean comes through. He's like, well, you know, Sam, I'm glad you said that because, you know, I just wanted to let you know that, like, it'd be okay if you cried about Dad dying. And if you did that, I wouldn't think less of you. And it just kept going back and forth with the passive-aggressive bullshit.
Yeah.
Dude, you know you're sad about Dad dying. Go ahead and fucking let it out.
Just cry.
So I have a
annoying as
question for
fuck.
you,
Oh my
Rod.
God.
Rod, would you, based off of this episode, would you continue watching Supernatural?
Never. I don't even want to watch the credits. Like, I did not enjoy anything about this show. Like the
Yeah.
writing,
This episode,
everything was terrible.
this episode really wasn't the best.
No.
It was not great.
Okay.
It was like local community theater.
Like, like season 1 actually ended really strong.
Yeah.
It was really exciting and really fast paced, and you wanted to see what happened next. And then this
This was not a good back to
was
basics.
not a good back to basics. It was back to basics, but it was not.
It was like,
good.
here's what we're going to be doing for season 2. We're going to hunt some monsters. We're going to try to find the Yellow Eyes Demon.
Yeah.
End of list. We're going to meet some kooky characters.
So far, I'm really not excited for the rest of season 2 at this point. I'm with Rod on this. I'm like, it wasn't good.
That monster was so
Boring.
bland,
Lame.
so great
Yeah.
value.
Lame.
Like
Yeah.
they even said it themselves. Like we're trying to talk to this asshole about finding some shit our dad left behind. And it's like, well, I mean, when we got some time to kill, you want to go check out Killer Clown? You talking about that fucking movie from the 80s? Why not? Like, no, they got a real fucking Killer Clown. That's such an old trope. That's such bullshit.
This actually encapsulates my problem with this episode, which is such a great premise. Like, yeah, let's capitalize on the killer clown thing, and then just nothing. And that actually happened a lot in season 1 as well.
It
The clown
did,
didn't even
yeah.
look terrifying. He didn't even do anything scary.
No,
No.
the clown did nothing scary. Like,
Yeah.
if the
Smiled
clown,
and-
if the clown had like unhinged his jaw
Right.
and had like 3 feet long teeth
Like
and
went
shit
full
like that, like
Pennywise, yeah.
that would have
I
been.
think it's safe to
that'd
say
have been
that
fucking
this
terrifying.
is not Pennywise,
They
right?
just got little children to let him in the house. That's the most passive burglary. That's like a very passive aggressive breaking and entering. Like I don't have the guts to just break a fucking window. So just try to get a kid
I think
to
it was
let me in
vampire
the middle of
rules.
the
That's
night.
another thing, is that this episode wasn't very clear.
No.
Like, it could have not come into the house because of vampire rules. Like, it needs somebody to invite
needs
them
someone
in.
to invite them in.
Or is it just like, oh, I don't want to break windows, so...
No, they
They said
stated
they
in the
had to be
episode
invited
they
in.
had to be invited in, so it was like vampire rules.
Guys, I'm going to be real with you. I don't know a single thing that happened in this episode.
What
That's
vampire rule is that anyway?
What?
Like
you
I know
can't be
vampires.
invited in vampire
Vampires
rule.
have to. You have to ask them to turn you.
Right,
most
right.
times, but like with breaking and entering and murdering somebody, like if you're willing to go through with murdering somebody in cold blood. Like, why the fuck do you have to be invited in the house to do
No,
it? Like,
that's the thing.
I
That's the
want
thing
to
with
come in and
vampires.
bludgeon these strangers to fucking death, but I can't do it unless someone asks me to come
That's
in.
the
Like,
thing
that's
with
so
vampires.
fucking retarded.
That's the thing in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which is like the #1 vampire thing.
That they can't turn you.
No, you have to ask permission before you can enter their house. They have to be invited in.
Yeah.
So vampires and shit, they just have super good manners.
Yes, they do.
Yeah,
They're
basically.
very
Everybody's just
polite.
raised in the fucking
Yeah,
in
vampires
Victorian-
are a
the
classy
Victorian
bunch.
or Elizabethan times. And it's just like, why are you still standing on the porch? Well, you didn't invite me in to slit your throat, so I'm just gonna hang out here, you know, until you ask me if I want to come in. But you don't have to ask me to bludgeon you to death. I'm gonna take that care of that on my own. I rip your spine out of my own accord, but I can't just cross your threshold without asking. That is, what is that? I'm a fucking animal.
It's a very contrived trope. It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From
Damn stupid.
I just kind of Googled it real quick about why vampires need to be invited in, and generally it's a way of like giving the vampire's victim a safe ground where like they know if they go to their house the vampire can't attack them, but and at the same time giving that vampire a weakness. You know, they're like strong and fast and whatever and immortal, but they can't go into your house unless you say, hey, come on in.
So how far does it work though? Like how far is this buffer zone? Like can they kill you in your front yard?
Yeah, I think so. I
Like
think
if
it's.
you make it, like if you get onto your porch, is that home fucking base?
I think it's
like
limit.
safe?
Yeah, like I think you have to be like in your house with the door closed or the door open. I think it's like the
As long
threshold
as
of
you
your
cross
door.
your threshold.
Yeah, that's it.
But if you're on your porch, a vampire could just stick their dick in your ear and fuck your brains to death.
I think so.
But
Yeah.
if you step back 2 fucking feet, they just have to sit there with all their magical powers and hope you just take it easy on them. Like, man, listen, can we just talk this out?
Yeah, that's
Come
it.
in, have some tea, and then like, okay, cool, I'm coming in, and then they murder you. That's so fucking stupid.
It very much is. Like one of my favorite like vampire movies, 30 Days of Night.
That's a great movie.
It's not a fucking problem. It's just they come and they just fucking attack you like a
it.
goddamn monster.
Oh dang!
Have you seen 30 Days of Night?
I have not.
Son of a bitch.
Aren't there like 3 of those movies where it's like 30 Days of Night and then? No, I'm thinking
You're
of.
talking about 28 days later.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm thinking of. Is that also a vampire thing, or
No,
is that a
that's
zombie?
zombies.
Is that's zombies?
Yeah, it's,
Okay.
Psychos.
it's also good. Very good. If you haven't seen it.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
I saw 28 days later and 28 weeks later.
I think is it days or weeks that's better?
I think it's days. Days was the first one.
Yeah.
I think days is the better one.
Aren't they making 28 years later or
Probably.
yeah?
There's nothing else to do.
Why skip from weeks to years? Why not go to months?
Because it's been years since Weeks came out.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
That
Oh my
answers
god.
your question.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. Yeah. If you want to swing on him, you got to wait for him to ask
Yeah.
you to come in his house.
All right, so what's next in these notes?
Well, I think I just wrote down a few things about each character, like that Ellen could help with the demon from like that's all she really told them. And they're like, okay, that's cool, we can do that. I thought that was just like I love Ellen as a character, but I don't know, man. Everything in this goddamn episode is so fucking weak.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, I have to say,
Like this-
spoiler for the later episodes, Ellen and Joe are excellent.
They
Yeah.
are pretty red.
Like,
The strongest thing in this episode was Joe punching Dean in the face.
that was a strong
that
jab.
felt great.
That felt great,
That felt like a massage.
and I was like, God, I wish that were me.
Yeah. So things we learned today. Travis likes it really rough.
Super rough.
super
rough.
rough.
You got a first. I'm gonna get you a first aid bag for.
You want to give me a first aid bag for my
Yeah.
dates?
Yep.
And a guilt
Yeah.
mask.
I don't like it that rough.
That vinyl.
Hey, Travis.
PVC
Yeah.
pants.
We support you.
Oh, thanks.
Do what you want.
Touch it if you don't ask it to come over.
That Sam and
The
Dean
monster can't hurt you if you don't look in the eye.
were just so, I don't know, caught up with their death of their dad that they just really slipped up.
Yeah,
They
What?
really wasted a premise.
they did.
Yeah.
Like, the premise of a killer clown should have been saved for an episode where they didn't have to worry about, like, oh, how are Sam and Dean going to react to the death of their father? And,
Yeah.
oh, how are Sam and Dean going to react to the discovery of this hunter network, you
Like,
know?
I think episode 2 should have been. I think it should have been a 2-parter opener, where episode 1 was Dean coming back to life or whatever, and John dying, and then episode 2 should have been. Well, no, I guess that was part of the deal. Was John gave
Maybe
Yellow
episode
Eyes so Yellow Eyes wouldn't bother Sam and Dean, right?
Maybe episode 2 should have been them finding the row house, and maybe there's like a monster there that they deal with.
Yeah.
Instead of like, hey, let's go waste this killer clown premise on them.
Yeah.
Because the reason why it felt so disjointed is that like, oh, we're back into business as usual, except no, crazy things have happened,
It was
you know?
very
Yeah.
rushed. It was like the Justice League movie.
Yeah.
Yes, thank
They crammed a
you.
lot of shit into 44 minutes. There's some weird lady in some notebook is dead, dad left. They've got a network of hunters. They need her help, don't know with what.
Yeah.
They find some MIT redneck who's using some weirdo fucking computer he made
Yeah.
up with duct tape. And they're working at a fucking carnival in matching satin jackets where blind dude, some fucking Rashiki.
It's just a
monster.
little, it's a
so
little
fucking
much. It's a little
convoluted,
much.
man. With
Yeah.
a clown who can't come into people's houses
Yeah.
unless they ask, and the people he's getting to ask is the children. Like who would even stay at? Who wouldn't go back to the drawing board when they showed up as a fucking clown spirit. Like, how many other things did he show up as?
Yeah.
And like adults wouldn't let him in
Hey,
the house.
it's Dale Earnhardt, your favorite
Right.
race car
And so
driver.
they
Yeah.
Oh, this is crazy. I thought you were dead.
He had to start like going back to the drawing board. Like,
Yeah.
okay, children will just let you in the house, right? What could I show up as? That
Okay.
a child would just come down to the stairs and a child who's, of course they're looking out their bedroom window at 11 p.m. What would make them glow with such glee and be so happy that they'll come downstairs and let me in the house?
Yeah.
Oh, I know a creepy fucking clown.
Okay, question. I have a question for you guys.
Okay.
What would it have to be for you as like Travis? Imagine 13-year-old Travis.
Uh-huh.
You've just met somebody who you're like, yeah, it's crazy that it's 10 p.m. on a Saturday night, but I would absolutely let you into my house. Like, who would it be?
13-year-old Travis?
Yeah.
It'd have to be like fucking Link from Legend of Zelda or something. A fucking Animal Crossing villager or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd let like a horse or something. Like,
Yeah.
like if I looked out my window as a fucking 13-year-old and there was a goddamn horse in my yard, like I'd go out there. I'd go investigate that. But if I saw a creepy clown, I wouldn't. Like one time, no lie. Like one time when I was 11 years old, my mom's a nurse, and so she would work those weird shifts and those late shifts and things sometimes. So one day, my mom had to go to work at like 11 o'clock at night.
Damn.
And then she was working like 11 to 7. And so she had my uncle come stay over to, keep me company. And he was going to work at like 5 o'clock in the morning. So she figured that'd be cool. Like, he's going to get up and go at 5 o'clock. You should be good for 2.5 hours by yourself in the house. And I'll be damned if as soon as my uncle left, somebody's knocking on the fucking door. It's 5 o'clock in the fucking morning.
Yeah.
So I go to the door, and it's a woman that I recognize. She's a friend of my mom's. And she's like, hey, it's me, Dolores. Like, is your mom here? So I'm pretending that my mom is there. Because I'm fucking freaked out. I'm a fucking kid. So
Uncomfortable.
I'm like walking back to the bedroom, pretending I'm talking to the mom. I'm coming back. Like, she says, what do you want? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing? And then she was like, just tell her, like, can she come to the door? And I was like, okay, listen, man, my mom's is not here, all right? And she was like, she said that, like, her brother had got arrested or something.
Wow.
So she was at the police station, and because it was a police station near our house, she got them to drop her off at a friend's house. So now she needs a ride. And I'm like, well, my mom gets off work at like 7. She'll be at like 7:30. And she was like, well, can I come in? I was like, no, like I'm not fucking doing that. And I didn't. Like, she had me calling people to get her a ride. I refused to open the fucking door. And this was a lady I knew, and these motherfuckers opened the door for clowns. One of the weirdest parts about that story I just told, though, was like, when I was calling people at 5 o'clock in the morning for this woman, like, people were asking me, like, why can't I just talk to her if this is real? Like, I'm fucking 11 years. You think I'm making prank calls that happen to involve? I'm that intricate with the prank calls that I'm pranking you with somebody you actually know who could be in this situation. I was like, can I just talk to her? Like, dude, I'm 11. I'm not letting her in this fucking house. It was so retarded.
Rod, you would have survived the killer clown epidemic because you would have been like, fuck this clown.
I would have called 911 if a fucking clown was in my yard. I wouldn't have went to the door at all unless I was making sure that motherfucker was locked.
No, I would have been the same. Like, if somebody like was like, hey, let me in, I'm a fucking clown. By 11, I would have been like, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I wouldn't have done that at 6. I would have never let a fucking clown into the house, even in the middle of the day.
These kids in this episode, I think they were going for like maybe 8 or 9, but they definitely read as like 11, 12.
Mm-hmm. And their parents don't spend any time with them, and they don't teach them anything.
Yeah.
And so these assholes are just going around just not getting in trouble for doing whatever they want to do. So they're just opening fucking... Do you know how many mud holes I would have got stomped in me if I would have just been opening fucking door? If my mom and dad were at home and I went and took it upon myself to open the door for another adult, I'd have got my ass beat. It could have been the pizza man. It could have been the pizza they just ordered. And they'd be like, who the fuck? Why are you opening doors in here?
That's not your job. That's not your job. That's somebody else's job.
These fucking 8-year-olds, they're just open the door, grabbing your hand, bring you in the house. I would have got my ass beat by every adult
Come meet
in my family.
parents. Yeah.
I got my ass whooped by every adult in my family. If I would have opened the door for it, I could have let my grandma in our house. And because I'm a child and that's an adult, if I didn't check with somebody, I'd have got my ass beat.
Damn.
Like, you don't do that. That could have been anybody. Like, I looked out there and saw his grandma. I was like, it could have been anybody. You don't know. You're too young. It could have been anybody.
Could have been somebody dressed up as a grandma.
Yeah, and these motherfuckers like killer clowns in. Do you want to play with me?
And it was an old dingy clown too.
Yeah, very
Yeah, it
like
wasn't
a
like a
homeless
fun
Norman
clown.
Rockwell clown.
Yeah, like John Wayne Gacy Jr.
That was bad, man.
Too many
That was
clowns.
my least favorite part about the story. Like that's what I was getting upset about. These fucking kids just opening doors out with
Yeah.
Like now your parents are dead because you're fucking stupid.
It felt like a Grimm's fairy tale.
I think when I saw it the first time, I think when I saw this episode for the first time when I was like 15, I was like, oh, it totally makes sense that these kids with this clown in. Like, fuck this clown.
Yeah, but going back
But
and
now I'm
critiquing-
like, this kid is a fucking idiot. Like,
Yeah.
this kid's parents deserve to die.
Yeah.
Because of their fucking dumbass child.
getting fucking Batman.
That kid's gonna have a hatred for clowns forever. Do you think those kids, like, saw their parents getting brutally eaten?
I think
I don't
that
know,
second
but I would
dude did.
really love
Yeah.
if somebody saw their parents get murdered
I-
by a clown.
I
then
think
there was
they
a
did.
clown themed
Yeah.
Batman running around. Somebody took it upon themselves to take up to the night dressed up like a fucking clown, all this rainbow colored Batmobile.
Is this the Joker's?
fucking clown
Okay,
car.
here's the thing though. A rainbow colored Batmobile, it's not as crazy as you think.
But that'd be
Yeah.
like
Silver
that's what it
Age
is.
of
Like
comics
instead
were
of
nuts.
becoming Batman, Bruce Wayne became the Joker.
Yes.
But he did what the Batman did. That would be fucking hilarious. They was like squeezing his nose and putting knockout gas on people. Like,
DC, get on this.
Yeah.
please.
Are you listening, DC?
But so, Ari, you
Yeah.
were doing some research about why we're afraid of clowns.
Yeah,
why
so-
we're supposed to be afraid of clowns. I wasn't afraid of this clown.
I wasn't afraid of this clown, but other clowns people are afraid of.
Yeah.
Other clowns people are terrified of.
So and like the adults in this show were like scared of clowns. Like the
Yeah.
first family we see, the dad is obviously super uncomfortable with the clowns.
Yeah, because like the girl's mom was like, when she looked and didn't see a clown, she's like, "Are you trying to scare your dad?"
Yeah.
And her dad like gulped.
Yeah. He was like,
It
ugh.
I'm uncomfortable.
was very Elmer Fudd.
He probably came of age in the 80s, which is when it came out.
Oh,
Yeah.
there's,
Yeah.
oh, there's a clown around here that nobody can see.
Yeah, so I wanted to answer. I'm not doing a freak of the week about the Rakasha
Yeah.
this week because I wanted to answer this question that's much more interesting to me. This question that's been asked by humans since the dawn of time, which is, why the fuck are we so afraid of clowns?
Yeah.
Like, why? Why are we afraid of clowns? And as I found out, there's actually a couple different theories for that.
Really now.
The first one is just the uncanny valley, except with clowns.
Yeah.
Right? So we see them and we know they're human, right? They have limbs like humans, they're shaped like humans, except they don't act quite human. They wear masks, usually made with makeup.
Yeah.
So we can't tell what they're thinking.
They wear
We can't-
really baggy clothing, so we can't tell what their bodies actually are like.
Right, yeah. So like we look at another human's face to tell like what they're thinking, what their intentions are, right?
Yeah.
Like I look at Ben's face and I'm like, Ben's a cool guy. He's doing what he needs to do. He's being a cool dude. If I look at a clown's face, they're always smiling, so I can't tell what they're thinking, and that makes me uncomfortable.
Right.
So that's possibly like a reason why we're afraid of clowns. But as I researched, clowns have always been kind of fucked up. The very first like modern clown that we would think of, his name was Grimaldi. He was a very famous clown, and he was kind of sad. Like,
Was he like the sad clown? Is that what sad clowns are?
yes, he was
Modeled
super
after?
depressed. He's what a modern clown is modeled after. So when you think like the white face and the red lips and like the big nose, like Grimaldi
eyeshadow.
really, huh?
The blue eyeshadow, big red nose.
Yeah, like when you think of like modern clown makeup, you're thinking of a Grimaldi type clown.
Right.
He really sort of founded that like modern makeup look. And he was also super depressed. His son and his wife died at a pretty early age, and he carried that with him through the rest of his life. This was around the 1800s in London, so he was
so
very
they died
famous.
of tuberculosis.
Sure, yes. But if you have to say anything about Grimaldi, you can say this: at least he didn't murder a child.
Yeah, that's
That
true.
we know of.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Maybe he killed his wife and son because they had tuberculosis. Maybe
Yeah.
it was a
Dun
mercy
dun
kill.
dun.
Coughing bitch and asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me stab you to death.
Which, the fact that Grimaldi didn't kill a kid can't be said for other clowns. Particularly the next clown on our murderous clown list.
Who's that?
Jean Gaspard de Barreau.
Jean Gaspard de Barreau.
He killed he killed a kid in 1836.
Wow.
Beat him to death with his walking cane. He was acquitted of this.
Old hickory.
Just proving the fact that in the 1800s you could get away with anything, right?
Yeah.
He's not the last murderous clown on the list. The last murderous clown we can talk about is the most famous one of all, John Wayne
Jonathan
Gacy.
Wayne Gacy.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
He killed 33 kids.
Yikes.
And once famously said to the police, clowns, they can get away with anything. I think that at this point, John Wayne Gacy is thought more of a serial killer as opposed to a clown.
Right, yeah. Like, I'd heard about John Wayne Gacy being a serial killer before I knew that his shtick was that he was a clown and he killed kids with that.
Yeah.
Like,
Or young
like,
men.
I'd seen him in, like, lists of mass murderers or whatever.
Yeah.
But he went around to children's birthday parties as Pogo the Clown.
Mm-hmm.
He took clowning very seriously and also was a murderer. So there's kind of, and he was convicted in the early 1980s.
Yeah.
There's sort of this idea that like clowns, especially towards the 80s, which is when it was published, kind of go from like these fun, things we can laugh at to like these children murderers, right?
Yeah.
It obviously very famously features a murderous clown who specifically disguises as a clown to attract children.
Right, yeah.
And there's also a huge like stranger danger factor to this, right?
Yeah.
So in the 80s, stranger danger was like a huge thing, right? All these kids were getting kidnapped.
Yeah, there were like PSAs about it.
If you had to disguise yourself as something friendly to kids to attract them to you so you could kill them, clowns are a great way to go.
Yeah, especially in like in a world that's like pre-major fursuiting.
Yes.
That's definitely clowns were definitely the way to go.
Yeah, if fursuiting is not available to you, you pretend to be a clown.
Not that I'm gonna say that the next like serial killer we find is gonna be a fursuiter.
Can you imagine the guy who was like ahead of his time, like 1976, completely dressed up like a goddamn dachshund? Like he's just really putting in the work, and like all the kids are freaked out. I was like, God, I'm gonna never get to fucking rape and kill a kid, man. Jesus, can't tweak the shit right enough. Clowns are getting out of business, man, but clowns are passe, dude. They're the past. I'm the future.
Yeah.
But I personally think the reason why we're scared of clowns, like, I don't blame it, right? I think it comes from before that. And I think the reason why we're scared of clowns is that, frankly, clowns historically have always been super dangerous.
Yeah.
Like, back in the medieval times, you had the fools and the jesters, and they were people whose job it was to mock nobility and mock and tell the truth.
Right.
Right? And so I think that combined with the uncanny valley theory, this idea that clowns are familiar but different,
Yeah.
I think it all combines to just be like kind of terrifying,
Yeah, and it definitely didn't help. Like I see
It did not help.
and I really think like there are still like communities of clowns out there. Like there was a clowning college. I think it's closed now actually. But
They're
there's like,
having a rough time.
yeah, they're having a rough time, but there are still communities of clowns, and I feel like the book and the miniseries and the movie It all were kind of like Jaws for sharks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like sharks really didn't help, or Jaws really didn't help sharks' public image.
That being said, the 2017 It movie is fantastic, and you guys should go see it.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen it.
I haven't
It's
seen
so
I
it.
just
great.
watched the original It for the first time when the new It came out.
Really?
See, I want to watch the original and then I want to watch the new
It
one.
was god
I have to say, Tim
did
Carrey's
like the
performance is
miniseries?
good.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
terrible.
Tim Curry's performance is good. The
But
rest
it's
of
probably
that
because I
miniseries
didn't
is
watch
not
it till I was
good.
already an adult. If I watched it as a child, I might have loved it.
Yeah, I watched it when I was 6 years old.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I watched it when I was that young too.
If
I actually
would've
watched it at
that
church.
young, I might have liked it.
Yeah.
But I waited too long.
I watched it at church, and I was like, "This is terrifying."
What?
Yeah.
What kind of church did you go to?
A fun church, a
Sounds
clown,
like-
Yeah.
a church
They're
for clowns.
definitely Episcopalian.
Yeah, I was gonna say Episcopalians do whatever the fuck they want.
Baptist? No, it would
Fucking
never be
serious
Baptist.
with it, man. They're demons in all shapes, forms, and fashions. Like clowns. Watch this shit. Wow, that is scary as fuck.
Yeah.
They're just trying to force everybody to like become like priests and nuns. Like that's.
That's fucked up.
I'd have lost my
When I was
shit
a-
if I was sitting in a church at 8 years old and somebody said, "We're gonna watch it on the big screen." Like,
When
what
I
the
was
fuck?
when I was a kid, I definitely was like, "This is the most terrifying thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm
Yeah.
never going near a clown again."
That's
Yeah.
horrible.
And now as an adult, I'm like, "Fuck it, clowns are great
Yeah.
That's
and
horrible.
and scary." But I like to be scared.
So, I think we all learned something today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Travis likes rough sex.
Well,
And we want you to be happy.
Are you gonna cut the crotch out of all your pants so we can
No.
see your vagina? Or is this just an accident? This is
Oh my
this is your
God.
basic instinct moment.
no, it's like I gotta let the whole naturally appear.
Yeah, but
wear
you
it
didn't
in.
you didn't think that when you were born though. Now you got to let the whole naturally appear. When you walk around with that penis, you was like, "Doc, we got to do some things."
Get the old snip.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man.
Now you're all about natural holes. You go for it, dude. Hey, whatever makes you feel good, man.
And if you are trans and on your journey, we want you to be happy and we support you.
Cool.
100%, dude.
That's a shout out to everyone,
Yeah.
not just Travis. I want to see them gay boys.
I want to see them gay boys. Travis Short, 2017.
If I, like, every time now that I watch Supernatural, I'm going to just be like, I want to see them gay boys. So
Yeah,
We are.
we are.
we are.
So,
Marshall.
So does anyone have any like closing thoughts? I think we're wrapping up here.
Don't watch Supernatural. It's a shit show.
Hey, too late, Rod. Too fucking late.
Too late.
Way too late.
Everyone,
Way
who
too
everyone who listens to this show has been watching it. All right, so you watch this episode and you think it's terrible.
I would
What-
never watch it again.
What if I told you that right now Supernatural is in the middle of its 13th season?
I can believe it because the WB is one of those networks where they found a bullshit niche, you know, like the same way that Real Housewives of whatever the fuckity fuck.
Oh, yeah.
It's on its 19th rendition in 37 season, you know, so I can believe it's on its like children and adults. Like people are getting more and more immature by the day.
Yeah.
So it's a lot easier to sell these type of stupid ass teenage angsty shows starring 37-year-olds to
Yeah.
a bunch of other 30s. Like who the fuck is this show for? It's two grown ass men crying about their fucking Monster Hunter dad, listening to rock, finding weird ghosts, and they're marketing this shit to fucking other fucking like 27-year-olds. Like this is weird. Like
I'm
how could you
27,
watch this
so
shit?
yeah, I think
Yeah.
it would be. This is my niche.
Like how could you watch this bullshit?
And
It'd be
I-
like somebody who's not 7. It's like somebody who's under the age. Like somebody who's over the age of 17, like still watching the Real World Road Rules challenge. Like, what the fuck is
Oh,
wrong
yeah.
with you, dude?
I'm 27.
And you watch it, right? Yeah, of course you
Not the
do.
road rules thing.
Ridiculous.
The supernatural thing.
I will say this show.
It has its redeeming qualities.
It has its redeeming qualities. It's like McDonald's or Taco Bell.
McDonald's and Taco Bell are great.
That's my point. Like if you eat it all the time, you're not really getting what you need. Like this is not.
And there are definitely better episodes than this
So
episode.
you
That's true.
watch about 3 episodes and then don't watch it for another 2 weeks.
No, I watched. No, I watched every episode as it came out, up until about season 8 when I had to acquire it by different means.
I'll tell you this: I don't know a single thing that happened this episode. Like I just watched it, and I don't know what happened. Travis,
yeah.
the next episode is called Bloodlust.
Bloodlust.
What do you think happens?
Sam and Dean are going to go to Washington.
Okay.
And they're going to meet a family of vampires that have
Who sell
been
legal weed.
Do
Who are gay
do they do that in
detectives.
Washington now?
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
they? Okay, they just started doing that in California.
Yeah, on the first.
But so they meet this family of vampires, and they're like, "Hey, we're vampires, but don't let anyone know, because we're trying to like integrate into society. And instead of drinking human blood, we drink animal blood."
Ooh.
And
Wait a minute.
they're like,
This is the plot of Twilight.
So check this out. Yeah, it's the plot
All the
of
way down
Twilight.
to Washington. All the way down to being in Washington.
I
Travis.
would have said Forks, Washington, but that would have given it away too quick.
Could have said
Travis.
spoons.
So, so they meet that family, but then they meet another hunter who's like killing them.
So they have to pick.
Actually, that's the closest you ever got. Travis, you fucking nailed it. Travis.
Yep.
You fucking nailed it.
I know.
Well, I don't know if that's gonna happen.
Nope.
But
Yeah,
if
you
it
do.
does,
We'll find out.
We'll
next
find
we'll
out
talk
next
about it on
episode.
Hey Assbutt. Hey,
Yeah.
Rod, where can we find you?
You can find me on Facebook, Narado Moore, NARADOMOORE. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram, Rod for short, ROD, the number 4, SHORT. That's it. I don't have any other social media.
All right, rock on. Well, you can find us at Habcast on Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr.
Yeah.
You can also email us at heyassbuttpodcast@gmail.com.
Please do.
And you can find me at Ari the Spy on Instagram and Twitter.
Why is this called Hey Assbutt? Is that an inside joke from the show?
Yes,
It's an
it
inside
is.
joke from the show, yes.
What's the joke?
That's it.
That is the joke.
There's a character who doesn't understand how to be people or how to swear, and so he says the phrase "Hey Assbutt" to an enemy before he attacks them.
Yeah.
And I actually now have an Hey Assbutt pin.
You do.
I do.
You do.
From my friend / fan of the show
Yeah.
at River Scribes. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
We have fans.
We have fans. But yeah, thanks for listening,
Yeah.
and we'll see you next time.
Pew, 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 pew.
Hell yeah.
The old world doesn't have any of that, but it does have the most awful character getting murdered at the end of the series. Very satisfying.
Ooh.
It has a straight girl immediately being like, "Hi, I'm in lesbian town now," in like the first episode of season 1, which is, in my experience, very how it goes.
Right.
It's very silly. I don't know. Somebody dies of cancer. It's a great show.
Oh.
It has all the things you need.
I mean, that does sound jovial as fuck. You know, it's very silly. Somebody
It's hilarious.
Oh, your white cell count is super low.
Hey man.
Boing, boing, boing.
Okay.
The keyboard's not working.
Patch Adams, calm down. That's all I'm saying.
It's very silly. Somebody cancer.
It is. It is very silly. I mean, it's the cancer thing's not silly, but the show.
I don't know, man.
I think that actress did actually die of cancer, though. So.
Wow.